This is the Sports Lounge.
Welcome to the home of the Sports Lounge.
Welcome to our YouTube channel.
Welcome to our YouTube channel.
Don't forget to like, leave a comment, and subscribe.
Don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment.
So click on the subscribe button and let's stay updated with all the happenings, all the interesting conversations in the world of sports.
Good morning, my good people of Nigeria and Lagos, and once again, we are welcoming you to this great weekend with the Sports Lounge. And now we are moving from, the permanent site to camp, because we are no longer in the permanent site. We are now becoming a full-blown ministry. I have with me again today my resident pastor to my right, and also our deacon to my left. The bishop of the ministry is unavoidably absent today, but he sends his regards. He sends Calvary greetings and blessings to our great audience and our great people that have tuned in to watch us this morning. And so to my right, my resident pastor, sir.
Bless you.
How was this week with the traffic situation? Did you experience it?
No.
God.
Thankfully, I didn't. I was on the mainland travel, so...
Okay.
And I went to work like twice. I've resumed back from leave, so that was an issue. But we thank God.
But the anointing is still...
it has to flow.
The anointing will
It always has to flow.
Thank you very much, sir. Our deacon, the man who serves the people. How are you doing today?
I'm very well, thank you. I'm very well, thank you. It's been a good week. Sitting at home, doing nothing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Don't let your employers hear you, sir.
I currently don't have an employer. so I'm lounging for now. But yeah, it's been a good week altogether. Thank God I didn't enter traffic. I'll have been livid if I'd been in that traffic.
I can tell you for a fact that traffic was demonic. I was on toll gates on one spot for about 30 minutes. Like, it wasn't moving. And I just told myself, you know what? We need to go back to the office. But anyways, to get us into this fantastic weekend, football is back after like a 3 years.
Good football.
Yes, good football is back after like a 3 years. International break. It felt so long.
Bruh.
But while we were even in the international break, we were hearing news and rumors about, Arnold and possibly him, Real Madrid and all that. But what do you guys think? Like, is he going to be a solid addition to their current options right now? Is he going to be the best addition, right? Once they are able to complete the move, do you think Arnold would actually be a fantastic addition to that Real Madrid squad?
Yes, so I think he will. Of course, a lot of their creativity is shared, but if you check the numbers, Rodrigo holds a lot of those final third passes and whatnot. And you have the likes of Vini and Mbappe that like to get onto things and stuff. Then Bellingham too. He does a decent job of getting onto stuff. We know Carvajal and Vasquez are winding down. Fede Valverde, you don't want Valverde playing at right back. So having an Arnold there and Valverde probably at RCM makes a lot of sense. That's why Arnold can create and put the ball in the final third for the... And they are a heavily transition-based team. So you take the Arnold that was playing in Klopp's pattern with Mane, Salah and the likes, and you put him in that Madrid Galactico team, and that's a lot. He has won everything for Liverpool. I think he has reached... He's 26, and he has reached... literally, they're comparing him to Cafu and the likes. So he has reached where he should reach. So going to Madrid seems inevitable. I don't know why people are upset. I don't know why fans are...
I like that he started from creativity.
He has done everything doable for Liverpool. And so moving on to Madrid just feels like the next time in career. He has won everything. If he didn't win stuff, people could get upset and stuff, but he has won everything. Every single trophy. I think he has every single one. Champions League, the league, FA Cup, Carabao, Club World Cup. He's won everything. So going to become a Galactico. The only issue I have is, would he now become a peripheral player in a very broad system? If he's the kind of player who wants to think, I want to win stuff, like as a personal person. If he's saying that I want to... Because if he goes to Madrid, he will not be number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4 important person on the list, in my opinion. And in Liverpool, I think he's like number 3 important person on the list. So but then if you're in Madrid and you're number 4 important person and you're number 3 important person in Liverpool, it's fine for him.
Just to add to that, I like that it started from creativity. But they have plenty good players. They don't have any volume creator.
Yeah.
None. Right. Most of those guys chip in
Okay.
here and there. I think this season, Modric has the most chances created or something like that.
I
And
think
Modric that plays...
per game, he
Yeah,
has the
per
most.
game. That's
But
something that
Rodrigo has the most in total.
Yeah, and those are two players that, I mean, when push comes to shove, they might not necessarily even start, right? Madrid can cook one lineup that will not have either of them. So if you're looking at Trent, I feel like there are pros and there are cons. We mentioned that they're heavily transitional, and if you're going to be a transition side, you're going to be caught out of position a lot more, and that's one. But if you're looking at quality in a player like Trent, I prefer to focus on the pros. This is somebody that will give you 6-7 chances every game, right? From set pieces. Madrid really have a set piece taker? They have manageable. They have manageable. So we have someone that like elevates their threats from open play, from set pieces, and all of that. So his passing is immaculate and all that. And like you said, Cavallal and Vasquez are winding down. So it's not like they're bringing him for proper competition. Maybe the first season can be shared minutes in the sense that Cavallal should be back at the beginning of next season. So maybe play one game, like that. You face Cavallal to bring in from the next season. It's autopilot now, be 27 then.
There was something that you actually said, and also beginning from what Tommy said about, Madrid like to be playing on the transition, right? And they can actually be caught out. It's happened a couple of times. Don't you think like Arnold's defensive liabilities could actually still pose a problem for that Madrid squad?
I don't necessarily think so. So there are two ways to look at it. Trent has looked a lot more solid in an slot system than he used to do in club system, and it's because Slot has paid particular attention to control, right? He wants people to be in the right position, so whenever they transition them, he's not out of position. I mean, Trent's worst game this season was against City.
Doku.
Where Doku dripped 13-14, but he was in the correct position. And that's probably why there was backup behind him. So when Doku passes, there's somebody behind him.
Yeah.
If you're not in your position and somebody is passing by, then Konate is out of position too, then there's a lot more danger. Do you understand? So I feel like if the coach or the team pays particular attention to the structure, all those things can be managed. But they have star quality, player quality enough to get them past 80% of their games. Those things you're talking about will only be obvious in a very, very few games. And there's also talk of next coach, who is it going to be? Because everybody knows that time is running out for Ancelotti. So if the next coach is somebody that pays attention to all these base system, what they call that thing again, rest formation and all those things, it would not be cut out that much. This is like on paper, when you look at all the players in the squad, this is a very well-built squad. They have good players in every position. So it's not like you will have to take extra responsibility or something. I don't think it will be a problem per se.
Okay, so let's piggyback from something that you guys also said, Tommy here. You mentioned how Arnold has actually won a lot of titles, right? I was listening to someone recently, and then he mentioned how a player like Bruno Fernandes, I think, yes, it was Gabriel Abolaho, has literally he feels like he has wasted his best years in Manchester United. Do you actually agree with that?
That's
sentiment?
lack of self-awareness from Abolaho.
So I want to quickly add something before I answer that.
This is the Sports Lounge.
Welcome to the home of the Sports Lounge.
Welcome to our YouTube channel.
Welcome to our YouTube channel.
Don't forget to like, leave a comment, and subscribe.
Don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment.
So click on the subscribe button and let's stay updated with all the happenings, all the interesting conversations in the world of sports.
I just remember that there's a point Fedotto made about volume chance creator. Madrid, since Toni Kroos, don't also have a volume passer. Long range.
Ceballos is doing a decent
job, but he's not. Arnold can. So, you can shift, you can take some roles off people. Tchouaméni should not be giving long balls. I said he should just do deep playmaking. While you transition, you give the long balls to Arnold. So that's why I mentioned Modric. We notice that when Modric comes in, he has to do a lot more. So when you take that role off Tchouaméni and you give it to Arnold who's playing at right back, it balances out. Then for the Bruno Fernandes statement, I think people are... Because I made a statement here the other time about if you're a winner, you're a winner. Even if you're a good player and stuff. You cannot deny the brilliance of Bruno Fernandes. Whether he has wasted it at United, if you're calling the best playmakers to have played in the Premier League, his name will be mentioned. Whether he has wasted it at United or not. Sometimes I think, in as much as winning stuff is really important, we downplay that only 25 players in a season out of 25 times, 20 can win the league. Out of 25 times, how many are in Europe or wherever can win the Champions League? Out of 25 times, how many that play in the FA Cup or whatnot can win the cup? Not every... Yes, we hope people win, good players win stuff, but not everybody will win stuff. There's a name like Matt Letizia. Anybody who knows football, once you mention that name, everybody knows that's a certified bowler. I was listening to Alan Shearer and Gary Lineker and Micah Richards on their podcast, and Alan Shearer said the most important thing for him, or the best that ever happened to him, was being captain of England. And Micah Richards was like, even the one Premier League that was a miracle that he won. And he's like, no, that being captain of England to him was more important and more valuable than winning the Premier League. So every single player has what makes them... So far, you are good. This stuff it makes 25 players to win something. Yes, one player can, maybe Messi, Ronaldo, the likes can influence stuff, but it doesn't necessarily mean every other player that has not won that stuff. Steven Gerrard never won the Premier League, and it's probably greater than 99% of the people that have played
won
in
the Premier League.
So what are we talking about?
So with that in mind, so we are agreeing now that Bruno is actually a performer. Now, Amorim did make some statements over in his last press conference or presser around, players. At least we know Bruno has performed, but players who seem to not be able to perform in Manchester United and who have gone on loan, and it seems like that they are actually performing on loan, and then referring to things around like pressure of playing in Manchester United. Do you necessarily agree with the statements that Amorim actually made?
For me, it's the lack of self-awareness. Let's start from there. This is someone that did very well at Sporting Lisbon. He has not exactly been able to replicate it at United. Now, are you saying it's the United pressure that's getting to you, or you're trying to deflect it to other people? Now, I understand that coaching is transmitting ideas. That's what coaching is. I have a way a team should play, and I'm trying to transmit it to the players. So sometimes the players won't buy it. Sometimes it's not all your fault. But if you are using your own tools, your own skill sets, and it's not exactly bringing results, it's not possible that that's the same thing with those players. So what I mean is, I feel like when players break through, a lot of them have particular skill sets that they're good at, and some things they're not so good at. Like, we've spoken about Sancho a lot of times. We've spoken about, maybe not so much, but Anthony. So these are players that are not explosive. So what they depend on a lot is quick interplays, 1-2s, to free up spaces instead of running past people and all of that. Now, if you ask them to do what they're not good at, what you see is a shortfall. You see the efficiency. You see what they're not good at. But if you ask them to do things they're good at, do you understand? Now, for the players that have gone on loan, players like Rashford, players like Anthony, even the guy that left at the beginning of the season, McTominay and all of that, what's been obvious is the main thing that's changed as far as I'm concerned is those players have been profiled properly. Okay. Now, if you look at McTominay, in United, he used to play in front of the defense to pick up the ball. We know he's not comfortable picking up the ball in front of the defense, but now Zamboanguisa does that, Gilmour does that, Lobotka does that. He is more concerned with crashing the box with Lukaku, which we all know he can do very well. He has the old goal in him. So all of a sudden, he looks like a better player. Meanwhile, nothing has changed. Do you understand? If you look at someone like Anthony, he still makes the same mistakes. He still does everything, but the betting system is a lot more close-knit. It's not chasing the ball. It does not have to beat 2 or 3 players, which we know it cannot. Do you understand? So it's more of good interplay. They do overloads in certain areas, so it's free. Do you understand? So I feel like before Amorim comes out to say all this type of things, you're supposed to get the best of your players. Do you understand? I don't think he has done that so far. I think what he has tried to do is, regardless of the players, he wants to improve a system, which, as far as I'm concerned, on the long run can pay. Do you understand? But if you know the particular struggles you're facing now, I don't think that's the best thing that you should be saying.
Are you already, because there's a way you're sounding, it feels like you're already having a bit of a challenge with Amorim and his system.
No, so here's the thing about...
just the statements he made.
No, so here's the thing about Amorim. By the time he came into the season, we already knew that there's a long road to catch up. And I always say, quote me anywhere, if you treat symptoms and you don't treat the disease, you'll be sick again. This guy wants to scatter everything and build it up.
You prepared this sermon very well. You're giving us this bread.
He wants to crash the house down.
When are you sharing
That's exactly what he wants to do in United. He wants to crash the house down and bring it back up. It will be annoying for some people. It will be irritating for some people. Some people will lose hope, some people will do that. The only problem I would ever have with not, it's not even with Ribera, is with Man United. Now that they've decided to go a particular way, let's say they give up midway through this project and you bring in another manager that is not like, that doesn't have like a similar philosophy, someone that probably wants to go back to a back four, wide forwards, then you now have to crash it again. That's what I just because I'm assuming that this is part of a long-term plan.
Project,
so maybe this is just the scattering. I mean, some houses you want to renovate, you just put some of them, you have to break them down. So I just think, so I don't have any problem with it.
So we've spoken about Manchester United, we've spoken about Real Madrid, and now we are going to talk about a legend that played for both Real Madrid and Manchester United. His name is Cristiano Ronaldo. Some of us call him Ororo. Now, there has been a bit of banter that has been going on. And last week, we actually asked this question. Should Ronaldo still be leading the line for Portugal? What do you think, Ifedotu?
One answer, yes. I know
Why?
it's odd, I know it's weird. But if you're going to pull out someone from his squad, you have to get like a capable replacement. Portugal don't have a good number 9. They probably have makeshift 9s in Jota. I've not been convinced with Gonzalo Ramos since he left Benfica. I know that playing time is a big issue for them, but I feel like you play in your club week in, week out. That's where you should even pick from first before you get to your country. So, and somehow Ronaldo keeps on delivering from Portugal. The only thing I would say is I just don't buy the idea that I should play every game and every minute. So it's more of you are 40 years old, you're 41 years old, you play 70 minutes.
So you stagger the minutes, basically.
Yeah, you play 70 minutes today, tomorrow you play, you come off the bench, you come up 25, 30 minutes and all of that. So, I mean, if I may, going into a tournament, team spirit is the most important thing, right? You know that, okay, I'm going to play a role, I'm going to play a part. A coach says, you know what, Ramos starts, Ronaldo is on the bench. If it was me, I would be very comfortable knowing that I have 65 minutes to do what I can do. And if all fails, they will bring in somebody that will get the job. So it's not like if I feel we failed, there is replaceable, like a machine. And I mean, by 65 minutes, 70 minutes, more often than not, Portugal have even camped you there. So you don't need all those shuttling and all of that. You've claimed territory, you've claimed position. So I just feel like if the managers gets proper use of him, he's 40 years old. He likes to say he feels like he's 23, 24. He's an old man. He should just learn to respect himself and respect his body
like
and
shed
shed
it.
I'm like half of Ronaldo's age. I mean, please don't put me in trouble here. So I don't think it's a disaster that is still starting. If they had, say, the type of strikers that maybe Sweden, Isak, Gyökeres, and is putting them on the bench, then there's a big problem. But when you look at the bench, do you want João Felix to play instead?
I know you don't like João Felix. so I'll come to you on this because last week you said no, that he, and then when we're talking off screen, you kind of alluded to it feels like everything has to go towards Ronaldo, and then it's affecting them actually moving on and playing much fluent or football. So do you still hold that stance? Do you still think like Ronaldo should actually not be starting at the end of affairs?
So the thing with the Asun is I think, so I don't want to assassinate his character because people tend to twist towards this. You say something and people start to, they will just cut out this part now and say, to me, say.
Shout out to Ohis for doing the Lord's work.
So for him, I think it's a Ronaldo thing to be the star man. No ego can be bigger than him. Nobody can be above him. And I think if Ronaldo is going to stop starting as the star man of that team, he would it will have to come from him. So I gave an example last week when we were talking off air about the 2006 World Cup. So 2006 World Cup. Look at Tony and Gilardino were benching Totti and Del Piero for most parts of that World Cup. Like
no, wasn't it one or the other?
It was one or the other.
Was Del Piero or Totti?
There was a particular game, 2 of them were even on the bench. I think it was the Germany game. 2 of them. There was a particular game. I think I checked. I'm not sure. I'll confirm.
It was one or the other.
So, and they were happy doing it. I don't think Ronaldo will be happy doing it. So, and that's why I don't.
You don't have a choice.
No, so that's why
it's Marcelo Lippi.
That's why I don't want to assassinate his character. I don't think he will be happy to allow Goncalo Ramos play 65 minutes and him come to mop it up. I don't think he'll be happy. And I think it's a lot better for the team because he's 40. The faster they move on from him, the better for them. So I'm not saying he should not be a part of the team, but I think it should come from him. That, you know what, guys, I'm 40. I'm not saying I'm not good enough, but I think you guys should. I think Martinez says if he wins the next World Cup or anything, he will quit from Argentina. Let the younger one start playing. That's Martinez, goalkeeper. Yeah. So like, I think Ronaldo should be at the point where he should be the one. He should be the one unctioning Goncalo Ramos to people. That please let my boy play. Like so that kind of. And again, when you say that thing of all balls to him, so and I think Madrid clocked that thing early. Some years back, you could play all balls to Ronaldo because he would score 60 goals. And so that particular pattern worked. We said the same thing with Haaland and Manchester City. When it works like that, it's fine. When it doesn't work, what happens? And Ronaldo is not the man to keep scoring in those. Yes, as Vedato said, he's 40. Like, you can't keep playing him every day and expecting him to score every day. It's not really possible at this point. So we notice once he's on the pitch, everybody just can't use their brains again. Everybody wants to cross. It's very funny and annoying that you watch. There was a particular pass, it was Dalo or somebody. There was a free Leao wide left. He was on his right leg and he attempted a reverse pass with his left just to try to give Ronaldo a true pass. And somebody on our group chat was like, why did you just want to force the ball to Ronaldo? You could have given Leao and you guys have created something else. Sometimes I think if they play without thinking of him as Ronaldo and they play as... That's why I love Bruno Fernandes for Portugal. He doesn't really care. Once he gets in that 10 zone, he lights it up and he's enjoying his game. And you notice it. That team should be built around Bruno Fernandes, in my opinion, and not Ronaldo anymore. Ronaldo should be a part of the team, but not the star man. If he can do that, I think it will pay them.
You've heard to me.
It's just we're mostly on the same page. I just feel like the people that are supposed to step up have not stepped up. We can draw a parallel to Argentina and Messi. You know, Messi's minutes have started dropping. Some by his own doing, some by team injuries, whatever. But you see, whenever he's not available, people kind of hold their own. Ronaldo got injured in the final in 2016. Eder came on, scored the winner. But say Messi got injured Copa America final last time around. People came on, they secured the bags. Do you understand? So, yes, he has done a lot of heavy lifting in 21 and 22, right? Knowing fully well that now you have players like Lautaro, you have players like even Simeone, you have players like Dybala, small players that can pitch in. Alvarez, do you understand? You have players everywhere. So if you don't give them the platform, you never know. But me, I just feel like Lautaro, the trust in Lautaro, the trust in Alvarez came from them doing it well at City, at Inter Milan. So it's more like, you've earned it now. So if Ramos does his own job in his club, he'll get more playing time.
Sure.
And so that's where it should come from. Those players that need to phase him out have to step up first. If not, we might see CR50.
And talking about even Premier League guys, because you mentioned Bruno Fernandes and all, have you guys seen like how bunched up the table is from 4th to 10th and all fighting for that fourth position? Because we are all assuming here that Arsenal will not have like some midlife crisis and then will just crash. And then Nottingham Forest, which I'm still looking out for them, will also not just crash. But have you seen like it's just 7 points between 4th and 10th? So the question goes, who do you guys actually think would make that last 4th position?
Okay, so this is very tricky. I'll just do a bit
let me even mention something. There's Man City, there's Newcastle, there's Aston Villa, there's Brighton, all in the hunt for that last 4th position. So who do you actually think will actually get that?
So I'll do a bit of elimination. So first, I'll remove Aston Villa.
Out. In the name of Jesus.
I think playing in Champions League and still having the FA Cup semi-final is too much for them. Yeah. I don't think they'll be able to do all three together. And they have, at the very least, 2 compulsory Champions League games against PSG. Yeah. Emery has a point to prove. That used to be his former side. Villa look like they can handle those knockout games or whatever. So it's not like he'll play it down. He's going to go all guns blazing in those 2 games. Now, the FA Cup also gives him an opportunity to win a trophy, a realistic opportunity. So I expect him to go all out for that. Yeah, so maybe there might be a bit of rotation in the league or whatever. So let's remove Villa first.
Okay.
out of all those teams, I think the people that can throw up like a consistent patch of results. So I'll probably say we don't know. this season, City has been a very funny City, but I think out of all of them, City is probably the one that can get the most consistent results. I was looking at Bournemouth's form of recent. Jesus Christ, they have maybe 1 win in 10.
Wow.
Or something like 1 win in 9 or 1 win in 10 or something like that. I'm not sure. I think, okay, if you have 1 win in 10, then you should be coming back from that. I'm not comfortable with Brighton as well, too. I feel like that 6 to 10 is their sweet spots. And they're very comfortable.
Newcastle, Chelsea.
Now, with wait.
Through a challenge?
Okay. Let's just assume Liverpool are gone, Arsenal are gone.
Nottingham.
Forest is 80% in.
Okay.
Yeah. I think City will complete it. I've looked at the fixtures, and I think City have a bit of cumbersome fixtures and all of that, but I just feel like I don't trust any of them. So that's probably the person I trust the most. Newcastle can have that type of height. They've won a trophy this season.
Yeah.
They're winning that trophy has guaranteed them Europe next season.
Yeah.
I think even though it's the Conference League, I think it's the Conference League or something
Conference
like
or
that.
Europa?
I think it's Conference. So I think it's the Conference League or something like that. So it's just more of, since you've gotten one of your objectives at the beginning of the season to win a trophy or to qualify for Europe, they might just slow down. City is probably the only person that has that motivation where if we don't go to Champions League, it's a failure for us. Yeah. So that's why I
think Newcastle will have that issue too.
So just hold on, and then we are going on a short break now, and then when we come back from the break, we would actually continue from this conversation while diving into some other very interesting things that have happened in the world of sport this week. So don't go anywhere and stay with us. And we are back, guys. And just before we left, we were discussing about how this funny... Sorry, we're discussing
4th to 10th.
Yes, 4th to 10th, and basically how 4th to 10th was actually going to be. And my brother here wanted to also chip in because we're actually talking about Newcastle.
Yeah.
And whether Newcastle was actually going to, do what City, because he said City has the same struggles, right? Yeah. And then do you actually think Newcastle would actually finish around 4th?
So normally we all have City for a showing at 4th. But City have quite some funny, like starting with United, have some funny games ahead. And then Haaland is out for
I actually told you guys we were still going to get injured.
So that's one. Then 2, with KDB announcing his departure, and with his beat past minutes, I think we know his legs are done. Yeah. We had that conversation off air. I think his is done. So I do not know if now somebody will go and cut this now. If Mamouche and Foden has not been playing well at all. So they will need to rely on Mamouche. Grealish is back, and I think he did well in the last game. Grealish, Doku, is a lot to ask of them. But the remaining teams there too. But then Newcastle, they are a streaky team. People don't notice that with Newcastle. They're a very streaky team. Yeah. They like to go on
5 wins.
On hot runs, like the old Leicester. Once they gear up, and Isak is a very streaky player too. So once they kick on, and I think they are beginning to kick on now. And to be honest, that's the best midfield in the country. So
do you think Newcastle will actually?
That's the most powerful midfield in the country. Tonali, Joelinton, and Bruno G. Like that midfield is always anytime you play them, it's always war in quotes. So with a red hot Isak, I think they and my beloved Chelsea might be the biggest rivals. At least we saw Palmer get an assist and Jackson is back, so we're looking at possible.
Your beloved Chelsea.
Yes, no, my beloved Chelsea. No.
So you're tipping Chelsea and Newcastle.
So Chelsea, Newcastle, Man City, between those three, remaining teams.
I think the remaining people are. Anyway, that's where the conversation.
And again, Newcastle have to make the Champions League because they have money problems. That's another motivating factor. Isak's new contract is tied to UCL.
We'll leave that conversation.
I just believe that money problems for poor clubs.
They are not poor, but
in the sense that
they are not poor, but guys, you know how PSR is.
So what punishment do they give them? Nothing, bro. They're going to find a way to cook their books. Everybody does.
No, so they couldn't sign this boy permanently in summer because of money issues. This Chelsea boy.
So they found the way around it. So they found the way around it.
They loaned him, and now his transfer fee is
Due
in
next
the
year.
new
And so they will
in the
loan
new
somebody, they
budget.
will loan against
So
someone
now,
next year.
no, the problem is now they are still in debt over this season. The debt don't choke again.
See, bro, if
They have to sell
if they don't punish
Anderson.
Barcelona by now,
Well,
if they don't punish Barcelona by now,
see.
if Chelsea, Barcelona, and Man City, they don't punish them by now.
let's be serious,
We actually need to go and investigate Barcelona for wizardry.
it's big
Because
teams.
now that I have my-
They
my-
need them
my
now.
passport.
No, yeah. So
They-
I think
you
so
need
I think
them.
your statement of poor is use the word big.
Okay,
Yeah, big. Because
so maybe
Newcastle is not-
if it happens to Crystal
Newcastle is not
Palace
poor.
now, there can be an issue.
can be an
If it
issue.
happens to maybe Leicester,
Fulham,
then Fulham, maybe that's where they can. So far, he's one of the people that have. I beg. Moving on.
Moving on from the guys in Premier League now to our European brothers. We are seeing some very hot games coming up. Let's start from the former Arsenal. I don't know. Are you still an Arsenal fan? Sir?
I'm not.
You're
Stop
not
now.
an Arsenal fan.
Stop now.
Are you sure?
I am a Chelsea fan.
You're a Chelsea fan.
Onward conference.
It is on record that you are a Chelsea fan.
God, I
Yes.
beg.
Beautiful. But let's start from your former club, sir. Arsenal versus Real Madrid.
Okay.
Do you think anything can happen?
So at this point, it feels like it is 1-1 out at Arsenal. Just when everybody stood up that Saka was back, everybody's on the floor. That's probably the best defender at the club for the last 2 years. Gabriel is out.
Is Gabriel really your best defender? I
Which
thought
one
the
is your?
argument
Which one is
was-
your?
Okay,
Which one
sorry.
is your?
Is Gabriel really? Is Gabriel really the best defender?
So,
I thought it was like there were arguments around Saliba or Gabriel.
So I think 3 years ago, Saliba was the better defender. And I think Saliba might be the better player when it comes to touch, beat press, and all that blah blah blah, all that thing, all those oral football that we talk about. But in the true word defender, Gabriel has been the best defender at that club for 2 years, at least. And having him, because he's like the backbone, he's the muscle, he's the Vidic to the Ferdinand, he's the Cavallo to the Terry, those kind of guys. You know, you always have that kind of partnership where one person is the muscle, the other person is the brain, and stuff like that. And having him out, having the biscuits they bought from, the 2 biscuits they bought from Bologna, Calafiori and Tomiyasu, both out. Remember 2022-2023, Arsenal season got destroyed against Sporting Lisbon when Saliba and Tomiyasu got injured in the same game.
Yeah.
And again, Tomiyasu, who is supposed to be the sub-center half with Calafiori, are both injured. Now Gabriel is out. They're looking at the likes of Kiwior coming in. If Ben White is fit, that might be a better balance. But we're not even certain Saliba can play so well on the left-hand side.
So you're basically saying, like, from all your analysis that you're giving so far, that you don't really think Arsenal can topple Real Madrid with the fact that Gabriel and a good number of your defenders are out?
So 2 weeks ago, I felt it was anybody's game in the sense that, yes, Madrid is the favourite here, but Arsenal's defending could help Arsenal if they are clinical in front. And having Martinelli and Saka back, Martinelli looking in form, was a good thing. But losing Gabriel now means that you have to place somebody else in that partnership against Mbappe. So that tilts the tie more towards Real Madrid. I might say something on here that I don't think Madrid can score more than 2 goals against the Arsenal defense in any of the games. That if last they will play 4-0 when I get to be 2-2 per game. But I don't see Madrid scoring more than 2 goals against an Arsenal defense. But with Gabriel out, if it's a Kiwior, Mbappe can get a free run like twice. We saw that against Fulham last weekend. When Adama Traore just got the ball out of nothing and almost scored from it. If it's Mbappe, that was a goal. So I'm looking at it from the point of view that losing somebody that pivotal at the back, I imagine losing a Gabriel at the back is almost similar to a Madrid losing and Mbappe in front. It might not be as similar, yes. It might not be as important in quote. It might not be as effective, but Gabriel is so important to that backline. So now it's tilted towards Madrid. But let's see what happens at the Emirates.
So do you actually agree with him that it's a foregone conclusion? Oh, let me put it this way. Before Gabriel got injured, did you actually think Arsenal had a chance?
So I thought we had 4 good quarter-final ties, very good matches that everybody in those ties will believe that they can come out victorious in. Yeah, but if you're looking at what's happened since the draws were made, certain events have tilted favoritism here and there. I think Gabriel's injury is a very sore one for Arsenal. If you asked an Arsenal fan to pick somebody that had to play both legs, that's probably the person that they'll have picked first.
Yeah.
So it's a bitter one to swallow for them. But again, adversity that makes men. if you are in that position, it's a chance for Kira to stand up. It's a chance for the rest of the people to show that this is what we're made of.
Someone
It might be Ben White.
Kira, stand up.
It might be Ben White that will play in centre back.
Or Timber.
There is no, it might be Timber with Ben White at right back, right? So they can find a way to mix and match. Size-wise, height-wise, Timber might not be the best fit, but it's against Real Madrid. They don't really have that powerful, strong centre forward.
It's going to be running.
Yeah, so it's going to be. But
So
let me give Arsenal fans a bit of hope. Let me sit up to do this one. So, Arsenal have played the one Champions League final ever.
yeah.
2006. They beat Real Madrid on the way.
One of the best Madrid sides ever.
Yeah, they beat one of the best Real Madrid sides on the way. And they did that with a back four of
Flamini,
Senderos,
Kolo
Toure,
Toure, and
and
Ibue.
Ibue.
Wonderful. So Arsenal fans, for you guys that didn't know, right? This is our Deacon that is giving you guys a bit of hope.
So if it was done then, it can be done now.
Yeah.
Right, but again, the second leg at Bernabeu does not help Arsenal at all. So they have to do a lot of the heavy lifting
In the
on
Emirates.
Tuesday.
They have to win at the Emirates.
Yeah, they have to do a lot
They
of
have
heavy
to win
lifting
at the
on Tuesday. I feel like if you are going to beat Madrid, your best chance is to bring them out and counter them. They're mostly disorganized in transition when they're defending.
Yeah.
So if they go in front,
You're done.
they're done.
Oh, also, they're one of the worst sides, top sides on set pieces. That's why losing Gabriel was really
Them
bad.
defending set pieces.
Yeah, they're one of the worst. They're one of the worst. They're one
I
of the
watched
worst.
their cup game against.
They're one of the
Sociedad. I think
worst
they're
teams defending
considered
set pieces. So a lot of people had felt Saka coming back.
Yeah.
Plus Gabriel would have. Yeah, that's odd one.
So
goal.
no Gabriel, no Havertz.
No
Wow.
Gabriel, no Havertz. Yeah, so
Sucks.
yeah, but Merino for Havertz.
Oh yeah, that's
works.
fair. Anyway,
But
in
then,
terms of area
in front of area
presence.
presence, yeah.
Let me now move away from this. You're saying basically, as it stands right now, advantage
Real Madrid. Yeah,
of
definitely,
course.
definitely,
Same with
Oh,
you,
no,
advantage
definitely,
Real Madrid.
definitely.
So apart from this game, which other game do you think that we should actually look out for and possible upset?
I said it before. That Villa PSG game is, for a lot of people, is a foregone conclusion, and I don't
You don't
think
see
that
that.
if you get to Champions League quarter-final, you are a foregone conclusion. I think that for you to get to that stage, you've paid your dues. Now you can get to that stage and someone beats you 1-0, 1-0. Comprehensive man, do you understand? Needs job, but you've shown that you deserve to be there. I think Villa will show that they deserve to be there, and maybe PSG will get overconfidence by the way and manner that they dispatched Liverpool. That Liverpool tie was a lot easier for PSG than a lot of people expected.
Yeah.
They played Liverpool out of the park in both
Yeah,
legs.
forget the scoreline.
Leave the scoreline. Leave the articles penalty. So it's more of, we are good, we've arrived, we are this, we are that. That's the type of mentality they cannot afford to carry to that Villa game. They cannot. They have to do. Okay, so we're playing another Liverpool. That's what can carry their momentum for them.
So in your opinion, would you say right now advantage to who?
No,
PSG
on
or
paper,
PSG?
PSG is clear favourites. I'm saying
I'm not asking for what
come
on paper.
and
I'm asking
respect.
what do you think?
PSG are clear favourites. You come, you respect your opponents, and you play football. Then it can be a stroll for PSG.
Okay.
If they come and do we're this, we're that, they're big trouble.
Okay. So he has given us. Do you agree with him that that's the match we'll probably see an upset? Or is there any other game like?
Spoiler alert: Bayern Inter is not an upset.
Yeah, exactly. I was going to say that. And for Barcelona, is it Dortmund? That is not. That is.
So do you actually think like Inter would do the work of the Lord?
So I'll start from Villa PSG. The issue with Villa PSG is I've seen a Lyon remove Madrid. I've seen a Lyon remove Man City in times past.
They're always upset.
We saw a Leicester remove, was it Sevilla?
Yeah, it was
then
Sevilla.
almost take out Atletico.
Atletico Madrid, yeah.
So and Villa have that kind of quality. That game will play on the flanks most likely, because Hakimi, Mendes, Kvaratskhelia, them. Then you have them. Rashford if he starts, the fullbacks, Digne. The game will most likely be won wide, because I think PSG would dominate that way. The game will be won who can switch faster. So PSG needs to be careful. That might be the only place we see an upset. Inter Bayern, anybody that wins is not an upset. Barca Dortmund, we most likely think there's only one person that's winning that game.
So call the person's name, let's be sure.
By the way,
Let's be
talking
sure.
about Barca, they're in the Copa del Rey final.
Yeah.
They are still in the Champions League and they are currently top in La Liga. Do you actually think that Barca can do the treble under Hansi Flick?
So do you know
Put in
Barca?
mind, he also did it in Bayern as well.
Barca and their female team can do the quadruple this season.
Yeah, they've won the Super Cup already.
Barca, both teams can do the quadruple this season. I know it's more possible for the female team anyway than the male team, but it's highly possible. Let's just and players have started going down. We heard of Musiala yesterday, and we know Barca players are a bit prone to this kind of things. If Pedri goes down around this time, Yamal goes down around this time, and you have to. Ferran is doing really well, but I don't think you want a Ferran starting on the right permanently in the Champions League semi-final or whatnot. So if Barcelona do not get any of these freak injuries, even at the back, and Araujo, they have a lot of players who are prone to going down. And Araujo going down right now, with the Kubasi going down, they have a lot of players that can go down. Balde, Barcelona could have as many as 4 hamstring injuries, and it will not be like he was a freak. It was just what happens to Barcelona. So if they can avoid, they can't really avoid it anyway. But if those kind of injuries do not happen to them, it's highly possible.
So how many trophies do you think they can realistically win?
So realistically, I see them winning the final of the Copa del Rey against Real Madrid. It's going to be a tough one because Madrid don't want to be done over. I see them winning that. For the league, it's kind of 50-50. I think anything can still happen. They still have one more Clasico in the league. So I think so. Anything can still happen in the league. Then for the Champions League, still be open. So for now, I think
2 minimum.
2, yeah, 2, 1 or 2, solid, yeah.
Okay.
The remaining, anything can happen.
Okay. Dotun, do you have same sentiments?
Okay, so finals are one-offs. I don't think you should count your eggs before they hatch, your chicks before they hatch. Or how do these people say those things? And Champions League is still a long way. I'm of the opinion that talking about quadruples, triples, all those things, they end up jinxing the thing.
Liverpool.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Liverpool.
Yes, on weeks back,
I just feel like
the question that can Liverpool do the quadruple and then the following week.
No, but,
Yeah.
but
the following 2 weeks.
we mentioned it was 2 marks.
We saw them back.
We mentioned it was 2 marks. We mentioned it was 2 marks.
I feel
We
like
mentioned it
there's-
was
I
2
feel like
As
it's
it
a
stands
jinx.
right now,
It's only 1.
I feel like it's a jinx. Sorry, but in terms of the league, I think they've used their squad well. Say for maybe 2 or 3 players, Yamal, Rafinha, Pedri. I think the other players, they've been able to get the best of them in terms of rotations and all of that. Lewandowski has been on the bench for the last 2-3 games.
Ferran is doing the Lord's work.
He'll come in,
He'll score.
60, 70 minutes, put a decent shift. Those are probably the only 3 people that have been non-negotiable. So I think consistency, getting a strict till the end of season, I think they can do that. In Champions League, it's Beatwis in front of you. Yeah, looking at 2 ties against Dortmund, potentially 2 against Inter or Bayern, then a final against Madrid, Arsenal, PSG. Don't worry, you cannot set me up. I'll call everybody's name. So there's still a long way to go in Champions League. I know on the balance of play, based on what we've seen this season, they should be favourite against Madrid in the final. But we're speaking about something else. I think their system favours all those smaller pitches tighter pitches and all of that. So maybe that Copa del Rey final can be one of them. But it's Ancelotti's a final. It's Real Madrid. If I was Real Madrid, I would do something diabolic, something demonic in that final and play for results. It's one game. It's not one away. It's one game.
It's just one game.
So I will not necessarily now say if they lose is this, if they lose is that. But what I expect them to win is the league. Anything they say above that, they
So
should be
for
thankful.
you as well, how many minimum?
One minimum.
One.
It's the league. That's the only one that I can say you have to win this because they were 10 points behind
That's true.
in January or so.
Yeah,
They've been able to crawl their way back to the top of the league.
Yeah.
If you cannot kick on from here, then why do you waste our time in the first instance? But with the other ones, if you lose, like, okay, well, that's football for you.
Yeah. And then we are now moving to our American brothers. You know how earlier on we spoke about the tightness, the tightness in the Premier League. Now we are seeing another
Western Conference.
tightness in the Western Conference of the NBA. We are seeing literally from the 2nd seed, that's the Rockets, down to the 8th seed, right? We are seeing like the teams are
Cluster.
closely bunched together. So you have the Rockets in 2. At the moment, you have the Lakers in 3. At the moment, you have the Denver Nuggets as 4. Warriors 5, Clippers 6. Then you have Minnesota 7, and then these other guys, Memphis 8. So we have all those guys clustered together, and then what separates them is about maybe 2 or 3 losses. So realistically, who do you guys think will finish in the playoffs? That's 2nd to 6th, realistically.
So I think we should not drag the Rockets into this conversation.
Okay, so let's remove the Rockets.
Let's take the Rockets.
The Rockets are on their way.
Yeah. So even if they fall, even if the Rockets fall, I don't think they can fall to 7th.
Okay.
I don't think they can fall.
No,
that.
they can't. No,
They can't even. They have made it.
Playoff already.
Yeah.
But 3 to 6. Who would
So
make that remaining
4, 5, 6 off the top of my head. I'm going Nuggets, Lakers, Warriors. Not in no specific order. I just think those 3 teams have that aura, that star power.
You need one more team. You've only mentioned 3. There needs to be
3,
4th team.
yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh, it's okay. The last one.
Between Minnesota, Clippers, or Memphis.
Okay. Kawhi.
Should I blow you, Breeze?
Kawhi. I go for Kawhi. No, because I go for Kawhi.
So you're going for the Clippers
I
to
go for
round
Kawhi.
up.
Yeah, because I'm looking at who can drag, who can like people. He's been decent.
So to you, Timberwolves, Memphis are out of it. They'll be in the play-in.
I think they'll go. I think they'll go to play. I just think they'll go.
Okay.
Don't cut my video. Verma, don't cut my video.
Vema, you've heard it live. He has given you his predictions. Please cut his video. Thank you. Yeah, what do you think? Do you agree with him?
No, I just think Wolves instead of Clippers. That's all. I think the other 3, I'll have said Warriors will go into the play-in, but in the last month or so,
last 3
They've
days, Steph.
They've been
No,
on
no,
fire. Steph has been.
not just Steph. There's been a rebirth of Draymond defensively as well. So
True.
he's holding his own on both ends of the court.
And
I think he
Jimmy.
had the triple-double against Lakers as well.
Then Uncle
Other
Jimmy.
than that, yeah, Jimmy Butler has brought in something special for Warriors. So I think Warriors will make it. Lakers, those also have
Those
a choice.
also, they have
I
to.
think Nuggets, when they want to play, they're
When
very,
you
very
kick,
good to watch.
if Westbrook doesn't kill him.
Yeah.
They're very good to watch. But I think Anthony Edwards and the Wolves have something special. So yeah,
Jesus,
I just feel like
Ant.
they'll make it ahead of Clippers and Grizzlies.
So let me ask, this is like, before we call it a wrap from our church service today, let me ask this question. What's your favorite team, by the way? Or what's the team you like to watch?
It's not for sets.
No, just mention. Just
No,
mention. It doesn't mean. Okay,
not
pick
for
a
sets.
team.
I should pick any team.
Just pick any random team.
What's the worst team in the league? Let me throw you off. I'm picking Atlanta Hawks.
So if you were the GM of Atlanta Hawks and you have you can get any superstar right now to get Atlanta Hawks as over the, let's say there's a proverbial hump.
Oh, okay.
Which superstar would you pick and why?
Right now, that's based on the way the teams are playing right now.
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's tough, but very, very easy and lazy. I think I'll go for Jason Tatum. So I used to
Solid shout out.
I didn't. So in the last 4 or 5 years, before the last 4 or 5 years, I didn't used to watch midnight games because then work was at a very, very delicate position, and also I used to sleep. But then they played this tie against Brooklyn Nets against Durant, and Tatum picked him up on both ends. So it's very rare to see a superstar of that quality that is ready to get dirty defensively. And since that, they have paid special attention to him, and that boy is special.
So you picked Tatum. So pick a team quickly. Spurs. If there was one superstar you could add to the Spurs right now to get you guys over the proverbial hump, who would you go for?
My answer always be LeBron James. Easy and lazy, as I said, and I'll say why.
Now?
I'll always go for his aura one, his ability to play through everybody, rather than even play on his own. The ability to get every other person involved. That ball IQ. When you need that experience over the hump, and then my team, the Spurs have them Wemby, them Fox. They will not mind that kind of IQ. Everybody, you know what? There's a CP3 that's LeBron's friend anyway. So I just generally think sometimes you need that experience. See what Jimmy is doing for the Warriors now. You just need somebody who can you know what, play through me. I'm your guy. I have your back and stuff like that. And I think LeBron is probably the best at it.
And this is a wrap. Thank you to my officiating ministers today of the TSL Church. And yes, and we have come to the end of our service for this week. And then we hope to see you, and we hope that you also bring your people next week, same time, for another TSL service. See you guys next week.